Hello, hello, hello,
What up?
chitlins. I'm
We agree,
sorry. Okay,
Lana. We agreed to this.
I know, I know,
That you would do it. We agreed that you would do it. So I
I
don't know
know,
why I
I
said that.
know. I had to because we were having this wonderful conversation about chitlins. Do you hear that?
Wow.
Do you hear it?
That's the truck.
That's
We tried to
Thank
wait for
you.
that truck to leave, and it did not leave.
I've been waiting for this truck. Okay, so y'all know we're not in the studio, and there's my neighbors have this loud truck, and I'm not hating. My car isn't super quiet, and why do they sit there for 5 minutes? And I mean, we're not talking about a high tech muffler. We're not talking about, like a dual exhaust, something smooth, something grumbly
Right.
sounding. We're talking about you're there's a hole in your muffler and it
What?
needs to get fixed.
What's the year of the truck? Is this a new truck or is this a?
Oh no, no, no. This is like old school. This I want to say this looks like an older Chevy,
Oh,
like older, and it's got lifts on it. It's super high, it's super old. It can probably, this is the truck you want during the zombie apocalypse.
okay.
This is what you want
So
because this is gonna smash over. I miss Walking Dead. Side note, this is gonna smash over. This is gonna smash over some zombies. They're not gonna get you unless you're in World War Z. You're dead regardless.
I don't want to talk about World War Z anymore because there was some stuff that was said on Facebook from a friend of ours, Jimmy,
Uh, uh,
and I'm not. I love that movie. The book is better, but I love that movie.
I seriously should have recorded the debate between you and Jimmy because that was hysterical.
Whatever. I'm over it. I wish you could see my face, Lana, because you just saw me
I know.
like look out the window and roll my eyes so hard.
I can picture it right now. But
And
okay. So, and Matt, you have had a week,
yes, I have. Well, I
and
guess. I,
please tell the people.
well, I guess we should say hi to everyone.
Oh, ¿cómo está?
¿Cómo está? Oh yeah, I got ¿Cómo estás? What episode is this? Is this episode 13?
Oh,
Today,
uh,
today I say?
um, trece? Yes.
Okay. So, episode 13 ish.
13.
That too.
Yeah,
Lana's having a field day. I don't know about you guys, but Lana is having the best day ever.
I am.
So welcome guys. I hope you guys had a great week, guys and gals, nerds and blerds. But like Lana said, I've had a busy week, but then yesterday was a very an interesting day to end my week. I actually got into my first car accident,
Mm, mm.
and like in my entire life, I've always prided myself on I've never gotten into a car accident. Knock on wood, but I always said it mentally and. We all like, bump a car, like when you're parallel parking or you may like hit a tree. Well, I never hit a tree, but, hit some inanimate object and, you keep moving or whatever. This is natural. But yesterday I actually got into my first car accident and this Mini Cooper came out of nowhere and cut off the guy in front of me and caused a collision between the two of us. And so that was like on the way to work. I was literally like a quarter mile from my job and called my boss and I was like, I'm not coming in today. So I treated myself to a personal day and I went and got some comic books. I went and did a little shopping and then I took myself to the movies.
Yes, and that is, I'm telling you, days like that.
I need that every week. I need that day every.
Yes.
I need a day off every because I feel like Saturday and Sunday are kind of mandatory. Like you used to sit on your butt all day. But when you have like when you take a day off, like a vacation day or like a personal day, it's like you get so much accomplished because it's so unnatural. It's so different from your everyday or every week norm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like Lana and I had talked about this before, but it's kind of like our blast in the past because it's like, what's your first accident? And I'm like, oh, my first accident was yesterday, technically the past.
Right.
Um, and I know it's not nerdy or blurry at all, but it's just like it's the first accident I've ever had, and I hope it's the last accident I've ever had or will ever have.
Exactly. And so this gives me the opportunity to share my first accident. Now, the first accident I was in is different than the first accident that, I was actually driving because I've never crashed into, well, no, I've never
Think
crashed
about it.
because let's see. The first accident was on a rainy Christmas day
Stop it.
where my family was driving the wonderful, excellently flooded 101 freeway going to Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back then, my parents had an older Volvo. This was like early 80s. So
Right.
they were still made out of steel and not fiberglass. And, we're driving along, Christmas presents. This is on Christmas Day, mind you.
Okay.
Christmas presents in the back. It's raining because, rain is our version of snow. And we're happy, we're excited to go see the fam. And all of a sudden, there's this other Volvo in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
It starts to fishtail in the fast lane, spins around, and comes back towards us.
Wait, this is a dumb question, but maybe not. I thought only like semi trucks, like big rigs, fishtailed.
No. Uh-uh. I've almost fishtailed before.
Okay. Okay.
But now I think you may be confusing it with jackknife.
Okay. That's what it is. This is jackknife. Yeah.
So the car started to wiggle and spun around, came towards us. We almost had a head on. It was, maybe a foot left from a head on collision.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say the front of our car was torn up.
That sucks.
But by the grace of God, we were fine. I mean, I'm talking about I had a scratch on my elbow. We could not drive the car after it. It was destroyed in the front. And we all were able to walk away from that. So that was the first accident. Now, there was an accident involving my car. You know what?
The car you have now?
No. Yes.
What
Yes.
was this?
This was actually, I'm not going to roll looking crazy, right?
Right. Really quick, this is back to my accident really quick. So, of course, it's the front of my car. It looks like someone punched a hole in my headlight. And the first thing I thought of was, I can't get back in this car. My car drives as fine as it did before, but I'm like, I can't get back in this car. I can't drive around my car looking like this.
I feel you.
I can't do this. So anyway, like when I went and did my little personal day yesterday, or went to the movies, I literally like parked in the back, like under a tree. Even though it's like broad daylight, I wanted some shade to cover the headlight.
Yes.
So people would kind of have to squint to see the detail. But I was like, I don't want anyone. I don't want to get behind this. I don't want to get in this car again. I don't want to drive this car.
Yes. So, I mean, I understand that. Like it's like it's something that needs to be taken care of immediately. I just can't roll like crazy.
And I tend to judge people, and I'm sorry, but I tend to judge people when I drive by them and I see that their car is beat up, or you can tell they got into like a severe accident. It's like, why would you choose to drive around like that?
Well, okay, but you know what it is though, and this is the difference between it's not cheap. I mean,
You're right.
I have full coverage. I've always carried full coverage. Okay. And I have full coverage, so I just pay my deductible is like $500. So pay my deductible and just, take it to wherever and get the car fixed. But it's expensive. And I used to kind of be like, why is your car still like that? But you know what? Everybody doesn't just have $500.
You're right.
And it's just, I mean, it's the truth when you, especially, let's say your family, you have kids, or it's just you, or whatever kind of circumstances. If your car is still running and the doors still work, it's kind of like lower on the totem pole. I am kind of a car person, so it's a little bit higher on mine just because
You're a car person. Yeah, that's right. But
it just depends.
what we're not here for is for me to be driving down the street and I look over and your car is fine, but you have like that plastic sheet over like your back window and your back windows, people in the back seat windows.
Because
That's
that's dangerous
that's a little much.
and it's not safe.
And it's but like
Because
a black trash bag is not.
oh, I don't see that a lot out here.
I've seen it. I've seen it enough in Indiana to cause concern.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, well, when we went around, how we roll out here in Cali.
Everyone drives a Mercedes, a Beamer, a Maserati, a Lamborghini, a Bentley. There was some. I drive a Honda Accord. There were some Accords out there,
Hmm.
but they were like the 2013 models. You know, they weren't like 2004 or anything. But everything's up to date in Cali.
Yeah, we try, we do what we can, but everything else in the state is a hot mess. Anyway,
Anyway, so
at
on
least
that note,
nice cars.
so I, so I guess speaking of technology, we can kind of get into some technology that's happened or some news that's been released. Not too much happened this week. I know Lana, we had a lot last week to come to
Yeah, we did.
some video games and tech news. But remember a few weeks ago we talked about, or you had talked about Meta, the virtual reality augmenting or reality
Yes.
augmenting device. Well, Meta, the company, has just released another prototype, and the price, the price is $667.
Shut the front door.
How do you
Really?
how do you feel about it? You think that's too expensive?
I know I'm not gonna buy it. I think it's not too expensive if you have the money, but I think for the average person, it's probably the technology is too new to just spend that much money on it. I need to wait at least a couple of years till they get this stuff unlocked and get it to a regular retail price. It's just, and I understand they need to make some money to continue the research, pay themselves, whatever they're doing, but it's just too early for me to drop that kind of money. I need to see, more games. I need to see a lot more. If I'm going to spend $700 on something like that, I need more.
I completely agree. And you know what they first looked like? They were just basically the Connect stuck atop a pair of rec specs. That's what it looked like. I mean, it had like a Connect bar from Xbox, like on top of some glasses, and that was the augment. But that was the prototype too. So they're promising what they're doing now is you can pre-order for 667 on their on Meta's website, and the deliveries began in November.
Mhm.
So you know the prototype that we've seen, which looks kind of crappy and kind of janky, the device will look more like a cross between ski goggles and a pair of Oakleys. And you know I love me some Oakley shades. I've went through 3 pairs so far,
Mhm.
and the newest pair of Oakley shades I've had for a while. But that's what they're supposed to look like now. So a lot of the augmenting reality augmenting devices kind of look the same.
Yeah.
Or they're going to look the same. It's just what company do you prefer?
Mhm.
So that's kind
Yeah.
of cool. I mean, it's nice to see that you can start getting these immediately. I mean, November. That's 2 months from now, 3 months from
Yeah.
now.
Now that is a good thing, but I'm wondering, are they going to work out of the box, or I don't know. I just
They don't say.
maybe when they're out, some real people. I'm not talking about company people, but some real people maybe will get some YouTube videos or something like that, with some people who bought them and
Mm,
see what it's really, really like. I don't want to see a company person talk about what it's like. I want a consumer
okay. Yeah, that's.
coming out of the box to let me know what this is like.
I completely agree. And the thing is, you know, when I think of Meta, as you know, what we think of is we think of like Google Glasses and we think of Oculus Rift, which we've talked about all these things extensively over the past podcasts.
Yes.
And I clearly Meta has been listening to us because in the newest article that they've written, they want to completely differentiate themselves from Oculus Rift and Google Glasses. Um,
Ah.
right. See, they feel like that those devices serve very different functional goals, and that's not what um, Meta is here for. I'm assuming that Meta is also just the name. It's Meta. The product itself is Meta O1,
Mm-hmm.
and the company is Meta. Um, so I mean, it's pretty cool. It seems like to me, I would still want Google Glasses primarily because we actually got hands on with them, and I really love them.
Yeah. Yeah, I want Google glasses, and I want to wear them as sunglasses. But I don't know. I'm wondering with my laptop and my tablet and my phone and everything else, how much would I actually use it? Like, what would I actually use it for?
The Google
I think the
Glasses or
idea,
the
yeah, the Google glasses, because as cool as I think it is, I'm trying to envision a way in which I would use it and make it functional and need it all the time. I'm not going to read with them.
right.
I'm not going to use it to watch a movie. I'm not, so I don't know.
Versus someone like me, like I have contacts, I have glasses, prescription glasses, so it's very fitting to my lifestyle.
Hmm. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it would be cool. I think I'm more attached to the sunglass version and being outside and having to call up some information really, really quickly and, doing it like that.
Yeah, because I think it's I'll even though I think Google glasses are really really cool and obviously new breaking technology, but yeah, people that we saw in San Diego with Google glasses, they didn't have lenses.
Right,
They just had
exactly.
the frame, and then they have the little cube, obviously where the display is. But that's really it. You're completely right. It's kind of silly for someone to get them that doesn't have glasses.
Yeah, and yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure they're gonna, they're still tweaking. It's called beta testing for a reason. They're gonna get all the little glitches and stuff like that, and they're gonna take the feedback and see how they can make it better. So I'm interested to
We'll
see where they go with this.
we'll see because I still want it, but I
I know.
also want my iWatch. I need that in my life. And
See, okay, let me ask you, since you're an Apple person, like
ask me.
to the core. Ask. Okay, so iWatch, iPhone. What do you envision yourself using the iWatch for?
Here's why I'm excited. This is Matt's review of the potential. If I had a dream watch, this is what I would want it to be.
Mhm.
Obviously, the basics. It tells time.
Right.
That's
Important part.
right. That's like the key thing. But for me, like, okay, like I like to stay like healthy, and I go to the gym, and I've done Tough Mudder, and I've done these different things, and I really love like the fitness trackers. So
Mhm.
I have a Nike Fuel Band, and for people that don't know what it is, it's a Nike product. It looks like a bracelet. It's just a solid black bracelet with a little button, and you push the button, and it tells you the time. It tells you the amount of steps you've taken, and it tells you like calories burned. These are all rough estimates, by the way. And then it has like fuel points, and so you set a goal every day of like 3,000 points, and you have to hit those goals. So it tracks your movement. It has an accelerometer in it, so it doesn't like if you're typing, it really you don't get fuel points from that. So if you're sitting at work like typing, you don't get anything like that. But when you're running or anything where you're really active, it calculates that and it gives you a daily like goal, or it tells you if you've reached your goal, and it has like it's really flashy, and it's really cool. Now the drawback that if I had so back to the iWatch, if my dream watch would be something like that, but taking it more detailed, so a much higher level. So true biometrics like measuring your heart rate. This is
Mhm.
just a small functionality of what the iWatch altogether would be, but doing stuff like have a Nike Fuel Band incorporation or Fitbit, or I think what's out now is like the Misfit Shine
Oh,
fitness tracker, incorporating that into there, also incorporating making it like a mini iPhone. So I know that when the iPod, whatever was that, the new Nanos came out, they
yeah.
had like those watch cases, so
Yeah.
you could put the Nano like as a watch. I mean, really like that. I feel like Apple's true goal is to make it like a Nano, but just like or mini iPhone, and have like a straight sync, so to where your phone's in your pocket and you never have to take it out,
Okay.
so you can like this is my dream watch, but like obviously it would have like the fitness tracker incorporation. It would have your text messages will be pushed to your phone, updates, status notifications pushed to your phone, whether via Facebook, Google Plus, Tumblr, your text messages, also phone calls pushed to it. I wanted to have like a receiver in there to where you can talk to people. Think of like a Power Rangers wristwatch,
Yes.
like so someone can like you can hear them talking. It's like a Bluetooth sync, so they can like Lana, when you and I are talking, like I can just talk to my watch, something like that. Like that's what I would dream. That's my what I envision when I think of an iWatch. Like I think of it being that'd be perfect for me because I do get kind of bothered or kind of annoyed, and I know I'm guilty of this too, but I get kind of annoyed when you're with someone and they're on their phone. It's kind of different when you don't physically see their phone. Like with Google Glasses, it takes out that physical, like I have my phone out and I'm truly distracted,
Oh,
versus you can get notifications to your Google Glass and notice it and keep moving
okay.
without the need of like taking your phone out. And same with your watch. It's like looking at the time, like, oh, your wrist vibrates, and oh, Lana just texted me.
Right.
Like that's
And
what I envision.
okay. And also, I know we also talked about the biometrics and things like that. And yeah, I can see, on the health aspect. Yeah, I can see that. Okay.
Because there's
I mean,
like the Nike Fuel Band, like the Fitbit, the Jawbone, Misfit, like none. I don't, if I'm not mistaken, none of them measure true biometrics like your heart rate, and stuff like that. Because I feel like heart rate is very critical to to being really accurate. Nike Fuel Band is very general. Sadly, it does have a GPS in it, but or a built-in. I don't know exactly how that works, but a built-in GPS. So when you plug it in and you look at your stats for the day, it'll say that you ran or you walked 3.2 miles today. It'll tell you
Yeah.
your peak, like, oh, you peaked out, like you were really active between 8:30 and 8:50 a.m. this morning, and then you kind of plateaued, and then you peaked out again at noon around lunch, and then you plateaued, and then you peaked out again around 6 p.m. It tells you your most active parts of the day, so you can see that pattern. But I mean, that doesn't really matter for people that work 9 to 5 or work a day shift or day or job in general, because more than likely you're not active. Well, you're active, but you're not
Hmm.
physically active. So it'd be nice, and tracking like sleep. I know like the Jawbone tracks sleep patterns and
Yes.
tells you like how much sleep you had and that you suck at sleeping. You should sleep more than 4 hours a day, like I do, a night, like I do.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
so things like that. I mean, that's what I would envision an iWatch being.
Okay. So, well, that makes sense, and that kind of breaks it down for me. And I'm wondering, would I don't know. I don't know. I need um I need to see what the new iPhone is going to look like
Uh,
because it's about time for me to upgrade. And I don't know, unless they do something drastic, I may be jumping the Apple ship.
That's what people. I've been hearing a lot of people say that lately. Like with like Galaxy, like the Galaxy S4.
Yeah.
Which is actually a really cool phone. I'm not knocking it at all. I'm an Apple snob, but I live in reality. So, I think it's a really cool phone. I think it's a really cool gadgets. What I'm actually looking at, if I ever jumped the Apple ship, it would be the new Galaxy S4 Active,
Uh-huh.
which is like
Oh.
that dirt proof, waterproof, all these different proofs.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the more expensive phones get, the more sensitive they are, like to different temperatures and outside forces, and it's like you invest all this money into these products, but they break so easily if you splash water on them or if you drop them in the sand. I mean, my Nike, I'm on my third Nike Fuel Band. Like when I was in,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
when I was in Boston, the
Oh, I
first one I had,
remember.
it just stopped. Like my first one just stopped working. I sent it back to Nike. They sent me a new one. When I was in Boston, it came off my wrist and fell into the sand. And it's water resistant. It's not waterproof. But it fell into the sand, and I was kayaking, and I didn't even notice. So it was gone for like 2 hours. And when I grabbed it and pushed it, it worked. But like an hour later, it stopped working. So it's
Mm.
like that's $150. And I haven't paid for one since the beginning. But it's like if I had to pay for one each time, like that's a lot of money. So I
Wow.
wouldn't. So the reason I'm like kind of like that's the first thing I talked about when we're talking about like the potential iWatch is like the fitness trackers, because I feel like I really enjoy that and it's something I really want to have in my life and it's a part of my lifestyle. And why not incorporate that into my phone too? So I have all that housed in one location and on my wrist.
Wow. Okay.
So that's my iWatch prediction. So Tim Cook, Apple, Nike, let's go.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it just like this because these other phones, like Samsung, has really stepped it up, and I just feel like, honestly, if they don't come correct, I might be jumping ship
Yeah.
because iTunes does not hold that much sway over me to where I feel like I need to have an Apple. I can pretty much access, anything on any device.
You're
So,
completely right, and I think honestly, It didn't really hit me the reality of how many people that did not have iTunes until we started doing this podcast. Because then it's like, oh, check out our podcast on iTunes, and people are like, oh, I don't have iTunes,
yeah,
and it's like
and so,
someone saying they don't have Facebook. You're like, what?
mhm.
Like, what do you mean you don't have So it's really opened my eyes. This podcast has really opened my eyes to that Apple is not. I mean, yeah, they're very dominant in the market, but they're not as dominant, meaning like 100% like I thought they were. Like I thought everyone had. When you get like a Microsoft computer it has Internet Explorer built in, I felt like anyone that got a computer, whether it's a Mac or a PC, iTunes was built into it.
Right.
Like I had that
And
kind of ignorant mentality going into it. So yeah, I think if a phone is better, go for it. Go for
yeah,
it.
So I'm gonna do the because I'm gonna research it today. Oh, speaking of phones, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So BlackBerry might be going under.
Thank God. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
Well, the thing is, it's they're even though they've come out with new phones and things like that, um, their stock is still going down. I actually just heard this on Business News yesterday. Their stock is still dropping, and they might be looking for buyers.
Well, we've seen this coming for a long time. Like
It has been. There's been too many problems with their network.
they've really tried, but when Apple came out, it's just that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that
So
was it.
I don't know what's going on in their tech department or whatever, but and I always kind of wanted a BlackBerry and I never decided to get one.
Hmm.
But I don't know. So just a little thing about BlackBerry, if you're thinking about getting a BlackBerry,
Hold off.
you might want to wait on that.
It's like getting a Saturn. Like you may not want to get a Saturn car,
And
but
that made me sad. That whole Saturn thing kind of made me sad. I never had a Saturn. I had friends that had one, but I don't know. I just thought the company model was kind of cool. I
I thought the
just really
company model was too. And I actually feel bad when I drive somewhere and I see someone in a Saturn because I'm like, if your car breaks down,
what you gonna do?
what are you gonna do? Like you
Yeah.
see, but I looked up I googled while you were talking. I looked up RIM BlackBerry, and it's a website. I'll tweet this out, telegraph.com. And they have a timeline of I don't know if one I didn't know that RIM was a Canadian company. But it has a timeline of their entire lifespan so far. So just to give you a quick rundown of 20 end of 2012 to now, December 21st, 2012, RIM, the company, shares plunge more than 20% on fears that a new fee structure for its high margin services segment could put pressure on the business. In January 30th, um, Heinz finally unveils the BlackBerry 10 at a glitzy launch event in New York. And this goes through a bunch of changes, and then they also announced that the company is changing its name to BlackBerry versus RIM.
Wow.
And yeah, and then June 28th, that was in January, and June 28th, BlackBerry reports a first quarter loss and forecasts a loss in the current quarter, sending its shares plunging. And then, Lana, just as you spoke of, Canadian smartphone maker sets up a committee this is August 12th, Canadian smartphone committee sets a committee to explore strategic options, including the sale of the company.
Mm.
But I mean, my question is, when I look at this as a third party, I think of myself. I have not seen someone with a BlackBerry in 3 years, and I mean that.
Honestly, you're right. I haven't seen any. I, I really have not seen any Blackberries recently.
Yeah, like
Not any new ones.
so. My thing is, why are you? My question is, why are you? So what is selling the company? Listeners, what does selling the company do for? I mean, what do you? I mean, what does selling a company do for the owners? I mean, like, or for the brand? Does it?
They can break it up. They can sell whatever technology they can. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't. Yeah, I just don't understand when a company. Yeah, I mean, like filing bankruptcy, I understand what that does. Protecting certain parts of the parts of the company, but when you sell the company, who's going to buy it and what are they going to do with it?
Right.
I just don't think it. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm not a business guy, so I don't know. But I'm curious. Like, does anyone know what it means? Like, when you sell a company, what does it mean for that company
Yeah.
or the owners?
Give us some feedback on that.
Yeah, because I
Tell
kind of want to know.
yeah.
Oh,
And
go ahead,
oh,
babe. Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
babe. I was just going to say that I forgot that I actually didn't forget because I'll be attending today. But Gen Con is this weekend.
Oh.
I totally, well, I didn't forget, but I was like, I know I wanted to bring it up the podcast. So I totally forgot. Um, and I wish you were here. But we can talk about that a little bit later. But it's the polar opposite from Comic Con
Hmm.
or a comic convention.
So I haven't been, so please tell me what the difference is.
Well, as you guys know and gals know, Shanika and I are really big Comic Con lovers. adventurers, particularly San Diego Comic Con. But I'm from Indiana, from Indianapolis, and we have Gen Con, which has been going on for decades. I think over 40 years here, and it's 4 days. It actually started Wednesday or Thursday. It brings around 41,000 attendees. So, I mean, people have compared like the size is very much compared to like E3 size wise.
Uh-huh.
Dragon Con, which is in LA in Atlanta. And
Yeah.
then like the Fan Expo's Game Expo, which has like
Oh, okay.
70,000 people. But it's Gen Con is one of the largest like annual gaming conventions in America or North America. What I've experienced in the past and in the current is like it's really traditional. So they deal with a lot of like pen and paper, board and card games, RPG or role playing games. Like
Uh-huh.
Dungeons and Dragons, think of that. Miniature war games, board games, collectible card games, and strategy games. So it does feature some computer games, but it's really opposite from like a Comic Con or comic convention.
Okay.
But it is kind of Star Warsy. I mean, that's the best way to put it. Like, it's not a Star Wars convention, but when I go downtown today, like you'll see people cosplaying in like Star Wars gear, like Dungeons and Dragons gear, a lot of RPG, a lot of role playing. It's not very anime compared to like Comic Con.
Right. Right.
So you don't see like the Marvel characters, the Disney characters, the very commercialized characters. You see a lot of obscure characters and obscure. Well, I guess Star Trek is not really obscure, but it's just very.
Yeah.
I consider it to be very traditional. If I had to give it one word, it'd be just traditional.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I hope you're able to take some
Yes,
pictures.
and I will definitely talk about it next week because it's been happening all week. But as I said, I've been so busy. I got tickets, but I'll be there today, and definitely trying to meet some people and just kind of hang out and do just kind of do some networking and really just kind of get back to the core because I've always kept telling myself like if you want a laid back con experience that doesn't make it a bad thing because it's laid back, but if you want a laid back con experience versus Comic Con, you should go to Gen Con, especially if you like things like RPGs and board games and card games. You should definitely attend
Cool.
something like that.
I wish there was one closer. I mean, we have out here in California, we have Kamikaze, which I've tried to make myself interested in going to, but I don't know. We'll see. Then there's Long Beach Comic Con, which I'm kind of a little bit more interested in going to. And then let me see. Oh,
LBCC, is that what
so
it is? LBCC?
there's a Trauma and the LBC. Okay, I'm
I was like,
sorry.
okay, all right.
That is automatic. I automatically turn gangsta.
A little bit because you said Long Beach Comic Con. I was like like LBCC.
I don't like LBC.
The true blurred of Lana is coming out, people.
Orangey. Okay. Anyways, I'm regulators. Okay, I'm back. I'm back for real.
Scene
Right.
and scene. Well, I know, like we. There's so many things, like I'm grateful because I don't know if we talk about this on the podcast, but Indianapolis is getting its first Comic Con, and that's next year.
Ooh.
So, like, Action
Oh my.
Six is the name of the company. They do Orlando Comic Con, Tampa Comic Con, Nashville Comic Con, and they signed a deal. Or I guess that's how it works. Signed a deal with Indianapolis to bring Indianapolis its first Comic Con. So we have one March 12th through the 14th, and it starts next year. So they're hopeful that because for Gen Con we bring in an average of last year we brought in 41,000 people attendees and unique attendees, and then this year they're estimating like 50 ish, and the Indianapolis Comic Con is hoping for, you got to start small. They're hoping for like 10,000.
Uh-huh.
Just you got to start somewhere. But since we're like right next to Chicago, and Chicago has their big C2E2 convention or a
Yeah.
C2E2 Expo, um, Kentucky has a Comic Con. I think Ohio has a Comic Con. I know Detroit, or not Detroit, like it's a state, but Michigan has their own convention. So I think they're trying to pull in a lot of the Midwest, like to come in and support. So that'd be really
Uh-huh.
cool. I hope that we as podcasters get to experience that or get involved in that in some way. That'd be kind of cool. But there hasn't been any other news besides the fact that it's been announced that this partnership. But that's about it. I think it's called Action Six, if I'm not mistaken. But I know. But Lana, what is kamikaze? Like, what exactly is kamikaze?
Um, that is put on. It's Stan Lee's Kamikaze. I don't know if it's him or if they just are using his name, or but it's just a smaller. It's a smaller convention, and I didn't go last year. Some of our friends went. They said it was definitely less crowded. They said it was, it was cool or whatever, but it's not huge. It's November 1st through 3rd,
Mm-hmm.
and it's at the LA Convention Center. So, I don't know. I think it's, from what I've seen as far as the guests, they've got Stan Lee will be there, Elvira, LeVar Burton, Adrian Curry,
Okay.
Kirby Morrow, James Hong, Bruce Campbell. That's it for right now.
I mean, that's
But
cool. That's not bad at all.
yeah, it's not bad. It's, like I said, it's 3 days. So I don't know. I may be moving that weekend, so
Okay.
that's why I'm not really committing to going. But I don't know. I definitely want to go. I'm kind of missing conventions, and I need to go for a living. I want to go to conventions for a living. I want to fly around the country and go to conventions.
I actually
Let's
agree with
make
that.
that happen. Let's make that happen.
I'm okay with that, just because, like, just being since we've gotten back from San Diego, I have been so busy, and I just want to, like, I want to play video games all the time, and I want to talk about comic books, and I want to go to conventions, and I just want to do this for a living. So anybody out there listening, help us out. We would really appreciate it.
We're just gonna start a fund and then you just send money. The one in Long Beach that I think I'm pretty much for sure gonna go to, the dates work out for me, is May 31st through June 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like that. I'm like totally down with that. And they last year it was only like one day,
Okay.
but this time they're stretching it over a couple of days. Um, they have a couple like they have a comic and horror con, and that's November 23rd and 24th.
I want to go to that.
Is a little, I don't know. I have to check the dates of Thanksgiving because yeah, probably not.
Oh, that's kind of a weird date.
I'm just like I'm looking at the dates like I mean, really?
That's a weird date.
And maybe people want to have their, but like I said, I don't know when Thanksgiving is, so
That's
whatever.
I never know.
I probably
Um,
that one, but the one next year in May, I'm gonna say that one pretty much, unless something crazy happens, I can see myself going to that one.
and I just finally officially started saving up. Finally, officially, I just finally started saving up for Comic Con next year. I'm like, I paid off my debt, and I can, well, my Comic Con debt, and I am back to saving up again. I'm back to
Right.
neutral.
So, and in Ventura County, where I live, we are having our first little convention.
Are you really?
Yes, I'm kind of excited. I know it's called Central Coast Comic Con. And I'm excited. It's Comic Con anime, steampunk, gaming, horror. And I don't know. I'm just, I'm kind of excited because it's local,
Yeah.
whatever. The show floor hours are 10 to 8 on Saturday and 10 to 7 on Sunday. So I don't know. It's just at our fairgrounds.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing. There is
I
nothing
know,
wrong with that. You got to start somewhere.
I know it's the largest area to have something, honestly, because our Ventura County fairgrounds are pretty big. Like they have concerts and stuff there, and they have buildings, so it's indoor and outdoor. So it's going to be inside the buildings. They're going to have panels, workshops, one for gaming, a vendor, and a guest hall. So I'm cool with that.
See,
I'm like, wow, we're gonna have something here. There's gonna be cosplay, after parties. I probably won't do an after party in Ventura.
can I just fly out really quickly so I can join you?
Yes,
Like,
please come.
Let me just take out my savings and pay for another trip back to California, which I would never complain about. I just want to do it. But I was just saying, like, never be upset where it starts. I would just quickly Google San Diego Comic Con and like its origins. And the
Yeah.
first time they did it, it was in the U.S. Grant Hotel,
Yeah.
and
It's
300 people.
Oh, and one thing that they're going to have out here, they're going to have a full-on Jedi training camp.
You have to go to that, right?
I am not going to pay. It's like $100 some. It's like a full-on Jedi training. I just think that's kind of I think I'm happy to see my smaller city, trying to do something like they're having pre-party Friday night at Seaside Park, September 6th and 7th.
Mm-hmm.
So I may do that. And just get some folks and be like, let's go. I'm gonna get my tickets on Groupon.
There's nothing wrong with that. Groupon saves money. Advertisement. Groupon saves money.
Yeah, so they're having a pre-party. The picture looks scary.
Only thing I don't like about Groupon though, or any of these like Get Social sites, is that you pay for tickets for something and they charge you shipping.
Oh,
That's stupid. Not like, because I mean I can understand getting obviously a service fee, but it doesn't say service fee. It says shipping. I just bought tickets on Groupon for a like a music festival here,
yeah.
and I got charged $7 per ticket for shipping.
Oh,
And I
are you?
never get the tickets like shipped to me. I literally bought the tickets and downloaded them, printed them off that moment.
Oh my
But
gosh.
even with tax, or not tax, even with shipping, it was still cheaper than if I went onto the actual website and bought the tickets. Went onto the actual festival's website and bought the tickets,
Huh.
but only by like $3. I saved $3 because I went to Groupon and got the tickets instead of going to the website and getting the tickets.
Oh,
So I don't, I guess with that being said, really anyone listening, don't go to Groupon. Just buy the tickets from the actual sellers. It's their money,
yes.
I guess.
Yeah.
But speaking of, I guess back to comics. So this has been a pretty interesting week because we had talked about this, I think, Lana, last week or the week before about the Infinity series, Marvel's new
Yeah.
6-part series, which is highlighting the story is about Thanos. I'm not sure. I don't know if they really have said exactly what is happening. Obviously, it's a lot of doom and gloom for the Marvel universe or universes because Thanos is the main villain. It's his story about him coming to destroy everything and everyone. But I got it immediately. It's actually one of the most gorgeous covers I've ever seen. At least in my time of reading comics, just because my favorite color is blue, and my favorite combination of colors is blue and black, that midnight feel, and
Yeah.
I love it. I love. So far, what I did was when I went to the comic book shop yesterday, and I bought. Of course, I had to buy the new Avengers Arena because I got to get my X-23 fix. But they had not only the first issue, I got the first issue of Infinity for Thanos, or Infinity Part 1 of 6, with the variant cover, which is all white, like you can draw. I can't draw worth crap, but I wanted to be cool and get the variant. It was the only variant left. But they also had a 7-part series that was called Infinity Incoming, and it's just a culmination of very important story parts or very important issues over the past like 20 years of
Yeah.
Marvel that have led up to, which I think is, I don't know if they planned this, Lana, but if they did, it's just kind of cool. But
Yeah.
it's like all the it's like from every I'm trying to say exactly where they're from, but a lot of the story foundation is like the Inhumans, which I never knew that there were Inhumans, an Inhumans series for Marvel, and then like Thanos Rising. I never knew Thanos was a child. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, really, he was a little boy.
Yeah, he was like a child, and he was like really popular, and a lot of people didn't like him because he was different, but then he became really popular all of a sudden. The thing that was funny was that when he was born, a lot of people, like, he obviously he was born. He looks nothing like his parents. Thanos is a one of a kind looking person, and his mother, the doctors were like, okay, he's a freak, and his mother was very defensive. This is my child. He's beautiful. He's gorgeous. But then she started to go psycho, and she tried to kill him because she said all she saw in his eyes were death. And she was like, all I see is death, and if I don't kill him, she ends up passing out before she can say. No, I think she says, all I see is death, and if I don't kill him, it'll be too late or something. So she knew what was going on, and they ended up putting her in a psycho ward. like as a child, when he was a child, they put her in a psycho ward. Her father was like his father, Thanos' father, is like the ruler of the planet, the entire planet. And it's just a really interesting backstory. Of course, they don't give you. I didn't read the entire series because this Infinity Incoming has issues from Inhumans. It has issues from Thanos Rising. It has issues from Avengers. Issues from New Avengers and material from Thor from
Mhm.
1966. So actually, you're pulling stuff back from decades ago.
Yeah.
It's a collection of issues, but this isn't all of them. To really catch up to all of to fully understand every character and every piece of this Infinity series, you would have to read over 24 issues.
See, and that's the thing. I just,
Why are you laughing? I don't like that you're laughing. It was like that like crazy chuckle.
yeah, it's just too many. I just don't want to get all those.
Well, when I went to the comic book store yesterday, I was asking the guy, the owner. I said, "Well, what do you think?" I was like, "Is this Infinity Incoming good enough?" He said that he's read it. He's read all the Avengers series, not because of this Infinity Incoming, but just he's a really big fan of Avengers. And he said he does not recommend anyone going on a scavenger hunt to get all those issues because some of them you won't be able to find just because they're so old. And he was like, "This is good. Infinity Incoming. I would recommend it because I read it already, and it introduces the characters that are important.
Uh-huh.
That's really cool because when you open up the first issue of Infinity, let me grab it. When we open up the first issue, there's so many. The cast includes all the Illuminati, which I've never knew. I never knew that the Illuminati were in X-Men, were in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Then they all own they all claim or oversee the Infinity Gauntlet jewels or gems, including Professor Xavier, who's already passed in this universe. They have the X-Men, they have the Builders, they have the Space Knights, the Avengers, huge Avengers cast, and then they have the Inhumans, and of course you have Thanos and you have the Skrulls. I love the Skrulls. As well. So it's a huge cast, and I'm really excited for what this series is going to bring because I actually, to be honest, Lana, when I read Thanos Rising 1 and 2, I felt
Uh-huh.
genuinely sorry for Thanos.
Really? See, now you're gonna make me want to go and I don't know.
I'm gonna mail
You're
this
gonna
to
you're
you. I don't buy this. I'm gonna mail you the Infinity Incoming because
okay.
they only give you, and I just want to be sure, but they only give you like 2 issues, I think, of Thanos Rising, and it's like him as a child. I just felt so bad for him. Like from
Mhm.
people didn't like him to people liking him to people accusing him of stuff, and and it's really interesting. But and of course when you read Infinity Incoming, it doesn't answer all the questions. It doesn't even introduce all the characters, like the characters that are talking. Some of them I'm like, who are they? And I don't know who they are. I think the reason that they're in that issue is because they will be in the Infinity present day series.
See, and that's what it seems like because when I read Infinity last night, there was a lot of characters and there was a lot of going on, and it took me a minute because I was a little sleepy and I should have been more alert.
I've
But
been doing this like I've been reading comics like before I go to bed. It doesn't work.
yeah, I have to be like up because when I was reading it, I was just kind of like, oh, this is a lot to take in
Right.
and stuff. So I might actually probably end up skimming through it again, and I might pick up a couple of the side titles. But for the most part, I only want the main six because honestly, there's so much stuff that I've added to my pull list that I need to budget. And so, like,
We talked about this a little bit last week, and I want to talk about this more.
yeah, it's just I've added so much stuff. It's like this is only a 6 issue series. I just want the six.
Right.
If I go in there and I look and see, oh, this one looks interesting, one of the tie-ins, then I'll get it. But for the most part, I only really want the collection of the six, and then Trinity War. Of course, I'm getting that across all titles, and I got Trinity War last night. The next one, which is Justice League of America, which was okay. The first three I was really super excited about. This one was good as far as information. You need to have this information going forward. And the
Okay.
next one is going to be really good because what the heck happened to Wonder Woman? And I mean, and that's not a spoiler. That's all over the internet.
Right.
But so I'm interested to see how it's going to end because the Trinity War is kind of like a lead up to the new thing that DC is doing, which is kind of like this axis of evil thing. I want to say Marvel did something similar.
But aren't they
Uh, with,
both doing it now? Like you have the Trinity War, which is like a really big deal in DC, and you have Infinity, which is a really big deal in um, Marvel. Because you have like even with the Avengers, like the Avengers pieces, I kind of want to go back and read the Avengers because one, shout out to Black Panther. He has a really big part in Infinity, which is cool. And
yeah,
he's part of the Illuminati. I thought that was really awesome. I didn't because when they met,
that's
okay,
pretty tight.
I want to go back. I'm sorry, guys. Be patient with me because I'm getting a little excited. Um, so the Avengers issue, you maybe can hear me flipping through pages. I apologize. Not really. I don't apologize. Um, but you have it's like the Avengers world, and like the Avengers go to this planet and they get demolished by these what are called the Builders. Like they just get beat up and they send Captain America back to Earth, like in this ship, like crashing, like from 2 million light years away or whatever. And they like send him back there, and of course he's superhuman, so he doesn't die. But they send him back to the planet, like crashing, like as a message that they're going to rebuild Earth, either rebuild it or destroy it in the process. And they capture everyone else, and they turn Hulk like into this crazy person, and they capture Thor, and they capture Iron Man, and I don't know why Hawkeye and Black Widow were there because they don't do anything. Um, they're human. Nothing
Mm,
about them is fancy or special
yeah,
whatsoever. I always find that weird.
no.
But like the Illuminati contains like Doctor
Well,
Strange, Iron
it,
Man. It's just cool. Are you breaking up, woman?
well, yeah, and it does. And no, I I was looking and I saw that whole chart they had of who's like the Illuminati and all that stuff. I thought that was really tight. I
I
like
wish,
that.
but is there?
And I
Correct me
was
if I'm
kind
wrong.
of surprised. Hmm?
Is there an issue of the Illuminati? Like, is there like an actual like series of the Illuminati, or is
Not that I've seen or not that I've heard of.
because I want to read.
And
I want to go back and read them.
well, the thing is, it's like what's going on next is this whole Forever Evil thing that Justice League is doing. I only picked a couple of them. Like I picked Darkseid because I like Darkseid, and Forever Evil. Number one, it's like it's the villains month, and
Mm.
so it's like a series of one shots that celebrate, the different evil characters in the DC universe.
Now, when you say one shot, what do you mean one shot?
It's only one. It's like it's not. We're not starting like six new series or anything. It's
Okay.
just a one.
Okay. Cool.
So I got a couple of the different ones, and it's cool because I go to Rouse Comics, which is a subsidiary of Seth Games and Anime. And so last night when I went to pick up my stuff, they gave me a list because I have Justice League on my pull, and they were like, okay, these are all the titles that are coming out. So just check off the ones that you want because there's so many titles that are coming out. It's kind of like, and there's so many Justice League titles. It's like, okay, tell us which ones you want so we make sure to order the right ones for you
Because there's
because
so many of them. It's
there's so many.
overwhelming.
And I thought that was brilliant. I was like, oh, thank you, because I would have had like 14 comics and I would have been like, I don't want this, I want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. So this way they can, order the right stuff. So I just checked off the ones that I want. One of them is Darkseid.
Okay.
So I don't know. The whole Forever Evil thing is kind of crazy.
Well, I'm trying. Well, even when I went to because lately I've been kind of lazy the past couple weeks, and I've just been getting digital copies of the comics that I want to read, and it was really easy to find Justice League, Trinity War, like that saga. But then when I went into the actual comic book store yesterday, I was really overwhelmed because you have Justice League of America, and everything had Trinity War on it. And I was
Yeah.
like, which one do I grab, and which one have I already read? Since I don't have a physical copy, I'm like, which one have I read?
Yeah.
So it was really hard in that way, and it was a little overwhelming. I wish it was a little bit easier. I don't want to say I'm blaming it on the comic book store or the publisher or DC. It's just when if you walk in there today and say, well, I want to read Trinity Wars, it's like, where do I start? Because
The
everything has
best
Trinity Wars on it.
Yeah, and the best thing to do is look at the top right. It'll say part one of six, part two of six. All you do
Okay.
is those six. Now, the Trinity of Sin is an offshoot off the Trinity War that has more to do with Justice League Dark and kind of like the other tie-ins from the other titles. I only got one of the Trinity of Sin ones, and that one was a Constantine one.
Okay.
But the other ones, I just want the main Trinity Wars story because I know enough about the universe to not really need to read the other ones.
Okay.
Um, and I don't know. I'm looking at Forever Evil, and I checked off like 3 of the 6 Justice League ones, and now I'm like, should I just get all of the Justice League ones? I don't know. It's so confusing. I'm gonna have to actually do some more research, and I might call and be like, I want all the Justice League Forever Evil titles because they're all, and the thing is, they're different covers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's, I don't know. I have to kind of look into that. I think it's a 7 issue arc,
Okay.
and yeah. And then we go into the Superman Wonder Woman, which I guess the end of the Trinity War and what happens kind of culminates and leads into them having their own series. So there's something big that's going to happen with them. And when you look at the end of part 4, I believe it is, this last Trinity War that came out, and you see what happens to Wonder Woman, it's kind of like, oh dang, what? How in the heck? Because she's already violent. So yeah.
Well, I'm really excited. I guess this is a lesson to be learned to be had because anyone out there that's thinking about getting into comics, it's easier said than done, which I think is sad to say, but it's the
It
reality.
is.
Um, I think you should just find what you like. Like I lucked out and Avengers Arena came out, and I love X-23, so it just really fit in because that's its own little series. And it's in the Marvel universe, but it's separate. It has a beginning, has an end, and they have good backstories in each of the characters. So that's cool. And then from there, I just kind of like I saw we talked about Infinity, and I wanted to grab Infinity, and then it was somewhat easier because with the whole revival, like Marvel now and the DC 52, you can kind of just pick up from there. And since everything is like issue 15 or issue 16, they're not that deep in. You're only 15 issues behind. Yeah, 15 times 399 is kind of pricey, but if you just like Lana said, create a budget and just or get the volumes. Like when I did Teen Titans, I got the first volume, which was issue 1 through 6, and
Hmm.
that brought me up to date really quickly. And I got the other 2 weeks ago, or issue 7 and 8. I haven't read them yet, but that was a good way. That way, you're starting new in the DC universe. I mean, you could go back to the old DC, but you don't need to. And same with Marvel now, you can just pick up like Deadpool kills Deadpool, or just like a special
Right.
arc, or even like Infinity. You can do that, and then it was cool because they released. That's the word I was thinking about. Volume. They released this volume for Infinity Incoming, so it was all the main pieces from 40 plus years ago till now that give you the main characters that'll be in this 6 part issue. Which, like Lonnie, like you said, these issues are so packed. Like this issue 1 of Infinity is so packed full of characters and story
It is.
that
It
it's
is.
like but it was cool because I cannot wait to send you this, Lana. When you read Infinity Incoming and like Black Panther's character, and then you've already read Infinity, so you see how it started. It was like a perfect tie-in.
See, yeah, I mean, because I wanna know a little bit more about Thanos, and especially I'm gonna read maybe today. I'm gonna read my hardcover Avengers Assemble,
Mm-hmm.
just to try to catch up a little bit on their universe and see if I want to add that to my pull. I dropped X Files yesterday. I hate to
Oh,
say that. I did. I couldn't. Like, we talked about my issues with the art and stuff last week, but I don't know. I couldn't really get into it. It's like I love the show. I'm gonna try to read the first one, but I'm used. Okay, the level of art in Marvel and DC respectively are so high
mm-hmm.
that even and they have and it's not the same art style. I can tell the difference between DC art and Marvel art, and I'm learning the different styles of the artists, and they're completely different.
Right.
And even with Star Trek, they go for a more, I think they could do her a little bit better, but for the most part, they go for a more realistic type art style.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm looking at X Files and I'm like, I need more detail. It looks like a sketch with color.
It didn't look good to me. I mean, when we were in LA, it just didn't look good.
Yeah, yeah. I remember I showed it to you. I was like, I can't do this. And so you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you know, I hate to say that. And like I said, I'm still going to read it. I have 3 issues. I'll read the ones that I have, if I can get past the art or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, and I read some of the comments in the back of this last issue. Some people, one guy was like, I love the art. So art is so subjective. It's like you can't, you know, just because I don't like it doesn't mean other people don't love it. It's just my personal taste, I
That's
guess.
completely fair. I mean, I fell in love. I know I keep going back to Infinity. It's not on purpose, but I'm in love with this. I'm in love with the entire design of,
Oh, yeah.
because it's like Hickman. I don't. I'm sorry if I mess anybody of these artists or illustrators' names up, but um, Hickman, Chung, Morales, and Panzer are the four.
This is awesome, by the
Yeah,
way.
and it's just everything about the quality of these stories is just of the story. At least part one is just excellent, and I always love a cool villain. I've always thought Infinity. I've always thought Thanos was such a cool villain. I loved his Infinity Gauntlet era, and I even loved the What If part of Infinity Gauntlet series. And I love that you had people from all over the Marvel universe that came together to defeat Thanos, including like Spider Man. You would never think Spider Man would be like the savior. Um, like
Hmm.
things like and then the Illuminati develops after Thanos, and they have all these really, which I never knew about till literally 24 hours ago, and then they have all these cool characters that are part of the Illuminati, and like even Beast is part of the Illuminati. Like that stuff like that is cool to me. Like even obscure characters are have this power. They hold this power. So I think things like that are really cool, and I really look forward to this. It just sucks that that illustration is such a driving force for whether you'll read something or not, because
Mm.
that's how you envision those characters, that's how you see those characters. So if you see them in a weird looking light, it just doesn't fit well. It just doesn't fit well as a reader.
Yeah. And exactly. So, I mean, I don't know. We're just gonna take them as they come and
Yeah, but you'll hear us not complaining, but you'll hear us harping on about this Infinity series. I cannot wait for each one to come out. I'm really excited.
yeah. And the end of the Trinity War and what that means for the DC universe, Justice League, JLA,
And
etc.
if you guys have anything else you want us to read, I know we just talked about a budget.
Yeah.
But if it's something that you're really passionate about, you really love that comic, and you think we would like it too, I know Lana and I can say for Lana as well, we love trying different things, especially at least giving it a one issue chance. And I would definitely say we would give it a try. Maybe
Hmm.
share the issues if we're on a true budget. So I may read the issue and then mail it to Lana.
I know.
Um,
I have to do that.
or back and forth. We may do that, but I'm always looking for new things. I just definitely want to play catch up on anything I am reading, like Batwing, and Teen Titans, um, and Justice League, because I want to finish up the Trinity Wars or
Mhm.
catch up with the Trinity Wars. So things like that, I definitely want to play catch up on before I definitely jump out into something more.
Oh, guess what I did add though?
What?
I added Justice League 3000.
Yeah, this is the
And
futuristic Justice League, right? That we talked about.
yeah, yeah, and even though that doesn't come out for a little bit, I went on and added that one because I already know.
You know,
Yeah, I already.
I want to see the new Green Lantern. I just want to see the new Green Lantern.
Oh, really?
I
Yeah.
like what he looks like. I think he looks really cool. And from my point of view, like, okay, I love Mega Man, and he reminds me of Bass from Mega Man. Because Bass in Mega Man Battle Network, Bass used to wear like this brown cloak. And
Uh-huh.
Green Lantern, the 3000 Green Lantern has, he has that hood with that cloak on that's like tattered. That's what it reminds me of. I think to me, he is the coolest uniform or
Mhm.
outfit, whatever you want to call it. I think it's the coolest. So I'm excited, and I can't wait to. When does it come out?
Well, they pushed the date because remember they switched out artists.
Yep.
So I want to say it comes out in December.
Yeah, because he got fired, like without knowing
Yeah,
he got fired.
he got fired. And he got fired, but he's still doing stuff for DC. So they just didn't want him on that title for whatever reason.
Right.
But yeah.
Well,
So
if to me, if you have controversy like that publicly, this better be some good writing.
yeah, and it better be the best art I've ever seen in my
Yeah,
life.
because if you're doing all that publicly and like kind of shaming him publicly, then DC come correct. because this better be some good stuff. Because
Right.
the character, I mean, all the characters look really, really good. I'm just so aesthetically pleased with Green Lantern.
Really?
I'm just so like I don't know what it is, but I guess I've always been really bored with his aesthetics. Like I love the Flash. I love what they did with the Flash in 52. Um, like his outfit, I think it looks really just really cool. But for some reason, I've always been really bored with Green Lantern's out attire. It's never been like
Yeah.
it's never been
Well,
horrendous. I've just been bored with it.
yeah. There's not much going on.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
got a little suit and he's got his little ring and his little lantern.
Once a Green Lantern, always a Green Lantern.
Right. Right.
So okay, what's next? What else we got going on?
Well, the thing is, I wanted to touch on this super quick was Heroes of Cosplay.
Mm,
This is super controversial. I watched it. I actually, look, I don't cosplay, so I don't pretend to know the ins and
yet
outs
you
of
don't
the
cosplay
cosplay
yet.
culture. Right. I know, right? I look at the art pieces. I'm not going to call them like, oh, they're art pieces. Some of these people, I mean, this is visual art that we're looking at. Some of these these outfits are beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed the show. A lot of people were very unhappy with Heroes of Cosplay because I guess they said it's too commercialized, it's too this, it's too that. But then somebody else pointed out that, hey, you know what? These people are trying to make money. They want to do this for a living. So if they can get on TV, if they have to add a little bit of drama, TV's not real anyway, especially reality TV. So if they have to get on there, add a little bit of drama, make it interesting, for us to watch, because I mean, let's be for real, we don't want to watch somebody sew for an hour.
That's true.
We want to see the conversations and stuff that go on. And I was introduced to some major players in the cosplay world. I had no idea it was, I mean, I knew it was big, but as far as the competition level, I had no idea that people were in it that much. It's so much work.
Yeah, it's very
It's
serious.
so much work. So I, for one, will continue to watch it and, definitely check it out and see what's happening next.
Well, I know for me, I haven't finished the entire episode, but the little 20, I think I watched 20 to 30 minutes of it, and I didn't turn it off because I was bored. I just had to turn it off. I had something to do, but I actually enjoyed it. What I did was I went to forums yesterday. I just looked up Heroes of Cosplay, like reviews or critiques, controversy, anything. And the thing I've read, or came across the forums that I have been reading. I'm not going to quote people just because they're kind of vicious, which kind of surprised me a little bit about people have to say about cosplaying or about this show, not necessarily cosplaying, but about this show in general. But a lot of people are kind of are downing cosplaying because they feel like it's a wannabe Japanese couture. Because in
Mm,
Japan you have, which I've always respected Japanese couture, as you call it, like that. Not want to say schoolgirl, but like like the domu costume, like the domu sweater
yeah.
or stuff like that. I've always thought it was the coolest thing. Yeah, it wouldn't translate well in America, but I thought it was really cool. But I've never looked at cosplay and compared it to Japan or anything like that, or to a certain culture. I just can, it's cosplay, it's costume play. You have fighting game characters, comic book characters that people or TV show characters that people are cosplaying as, and like you said, I mean, yeah, people nowadays, people don't just make YouTube videos just to express their feelings. Some of them make YouTube videos to make money. Like they want money, and it sucks, but that is what it is. This is a true competition. This show is not necessarily commercializing it, but they're just highlighting this show, or they're highlighting this tradition that's been going on for years, and it
Yeah.
kind of sucks that people have really crapped on it. When sci-fi has taken something that's really been a great thing and just showcasing it, and I like it, and I really can't wait to watch more of the show. I think sci-fi's doing a good job. But like you said, I don't want to watch a show about someone sewing for an hour and a half, or an hour. But I definitely want to see the competition part of it. Everyone loves competition.
Yeah, I want to see the competition. I like the idea that they're going to different conventions. I
Yeah,
want to see. I mean, I like that. I like it a lot. I want to see. I do want to see. Well, I saw a lot of comments where people said I want to see more of the costumes and things, and I would too. I would like to see more, costumes. Maybe a longer segment on the competition part of it. But I'm like, it's all good. Live and let live. These people didn't go on this show, you know, for what? They went on for some self promotion. I think that's fine. Do
why
your
not?
thing. your money, do what you want to do and get paid for it. That's fine.
Because
There's
I
nothing wrong with that. Isn't that what we all want to do?
isn't that what? Oh, wow.
Don't
I
even get
literally was about to say that, and you literally took it out of my mouth. Because the thing that gets me is like, okay, we do a podcast. This is just the infant stage. We want to make it grow into something bigger and better. And instead of me looking at these people, whether they're cosplaying or going to conventions or bloggers, whatever, and hating on them or talking about them or shooting them down, I'm just appreciating for what it is. Like this is someone's craft. This is somebody's talent, and this some of these not some, but especially on this show, a lot of these cosplays are awesome. And
they
people
are.
put in thousands of hours. Like when I watched, I don't know if you've ever seen Lana, the Comic Con episode 4, Fans Hope, that documentary.
No.
And I gotta let you, I have it. I don't have a physical. I have a digital
It should
copy.
be on Hulu. Isn't it on
It
Hulu?
is on Hulu, and you have to watch it. One, it does gives you that nostalgic feeling, just or that fit that yearning to go back to Comic Con. But it also talks about cosplay, and it talks about this one lady. She's a designer out of I forgot, somewhere close to the West Coast, and she has what did she do? They did a Mass Effect cosplay and like 5 or 6 characters, and they put in thousands of hours in these cosplays, and they end up winning the Masquerade at Comic Con. But the thing is, it was so cool to see them dedicate so much time, no money involved at all, meaning like they
Yeah.
didn't get paid for
This-
it.
yeah.
It's for the passion, and it got documented, and I thought it was just the coolest thing. I thought it was the greatest thing.
See,
So I'm not mad at it. I appreciate it, and I love it.
and I'm glad that other people who may not know it's so huge or may not know anything about it, have an appreciation for what it is. And also, Sci-Fi is really doing it because there's another show that premieres September 24th called Fangasm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is going to be interesting. Basically, you're going to take, the real world for nerds, basically. So you're going to take 7 people who are very passionate about, their certain area, and they're going to be interning with Kamikaze.
Mm.
Yeah. So that is they're going to be interning for and working together and living together to work at Stanley's Kamikaze Expo.
I love that.
So yeah, so it premieres September 24th at 10. And I think that is going to be something interesting to watch. And you know how we get when we're passionate about our stuff. It's probably going to be kind of funny. But, I hope it's done in, I guess I can say I hope it's done in a way that's respectful, where we're laughing with them and not at.
Well, it'd be
Yeah,
hard for us to laugh at them because we're one of them.
I know, but I'm more speaking for the general public who maybe just um, exposed to this side of life.
I know, that's exactly what I meant too. You're completely right. It's like, because if anything, when I see that, and if I see something that's kind of embarrassing, I don't laugh at them. I just feel bad. Like I feel guilty. Like
Like, aw.
I wish I could help you out.
I
Like
know.
like there was one scene in Comic Con, the documentary episode 4, where a guy, him and his girlfriend, he was going to propose to her at Comic Con, and like he got a ring made for her and all this stuff, and he got it made at Comic Con, and she was like attached at the hip to him like at all times, and that documentary kind of put her in a bad light. I wouldn't say like a negative light, but like a kind of gray, like a tinted light, because she just seemed like a really clingy girlfriend, and she was all over him at all times. He couldn't go to the bathroom by himself. He couldn't go to a different panel by himself. Like it was like we have to be together at all times. And she as a person got negative feedback, like comments, people, YouTube posters, whatever, commenters, just talking negatively about her. And I never found her annoying. I just felt bad for her because I was like, I feel like they're putting her in a bad light, and I really did love their story, and I just really hated that they kind of gave her, not him, but they gave her, well, they shouldn't give either one of them, but they kind of gave her flack for being like a clingy girlfriend, and I'm like, I think that sucks.
Yeah.
So but that's like the price of fame. Like you're not always in a good light, and just because 1,000 people may like you, but there's always going to be someone who doesn't like you. Just
Always.
because they just have to. It's like it's part of life. They have to not like you.
They can kick rocks. Oh.
They can kick rocks, and we'll continue to spread the blurb. So,
Yeah.
so
Let's do the blurred of the week.
okay,
Because you're somebody really, really good.
okay. So I am a huge fan of a show that is actually in its last season coming up called Community, and it was on NBC, or it's not was. It's on NBC. stars Joel McHale from the Soup or Talk Soup on E, yeah, E channel. Um, I can't think of his name. Donald Glover, Yvette Nicole Brown, who I got a picture with at Comic Con, and a few other actors. So I can't think of their name. Oh, Chevy Chase, who is not on the show anymore. But the person that we're highlighting for this Blur of the Week is Donald Glover. Now, Donald Glover he went to NYU. He used to write for 30 Rock, Tina Fey's show that ended last season or 2 seasons ago on NBC. He wrote for one season and then he went and took a show and auditioned for Community and got cast for Community. It's about a group a group of 7 people who all
Uh-huh.
come from different backgrounds, different ages. Obviously, you have people as young as Donald Glover, who plays like a freshman in college, to Chevy Chase, who plays, a 60-something-year-old entrepreneur, business owner who's going back to school. And then Joel McHale's character, he's a lawyer that lied his way to being a lawyer or being an attorney and gets found out and like gets stripped of his license. So he's trying to go back to school to get his license. And they're a study group, and it's like the adventures of the study group. And it's just really, to me, it's one of the most original shows out there, and I feel like a lot of people will agree with me. It's like Firefly for a comedy. It has like that strong fan base, and when I say Firefly, meaning like has a strong cult following, original content, and is really underappreciated by the masses and really underappreciated by the network. Network being NBC,
Yeah.
and this is a really good show. So anyway, Donald Glover is the actor, and he also is a rapper, and his rap alter ego is Childish Gambino, and he's been rapping for about 7 years, at least to my knowledge. And he had a lot of mixtapes or a lot of mix CDs, a lot of underground stuff. I would consider him indie at the time, but like I was telling Lana earlier, he is kind of going through this Will Smith-ish phase where he's an actor, but he's trying to be a rapper and he's trying to make it work on both sides. I really love his music. I mean, he's a rapper. I think his flows are really good, but he's also a huge nerd, especially coming across his like 30 Rock days and his writing style as a writer for 30 Rock, and even his character. They do a lot of like imagination. They do a lot of imagining. They do like they did an episode where they were like in a virtual reality world. They did a show
Uh-huh.
where they were like claymation characters, like true claymation characters. Lana, it was the most creative episode I've ever seen of a show. They were like
Really?
legit claymation. And it was just a really cool thing. I think Donald Glover as a person, I think he's really. I've did some research on him, and I think he's an appropriate blur just because of his background, because of where he went, his education, his talent, and to see him at Comic Con was really cool because he's really down to earth, and he really fits into the blurred culture or nerd culture. And I know Lana doesn't know too much about, you don't know too much about Community, and I was like, you have to watch this show. Like, you
I
have to.
mean, I've watched a couple of episodes, but not, like that.
Did you like it?
It was pretty funny. It wasn't something that I was like, oh my gosh, let me memorize the day and time that Community is on, I guess. But I mean, I watched it. I thought it was funny.
That's fair. I don't memorize one. I don't memorize anything. If DVR didn't exist, a lot of shows would not be watched.
Basically, isn't that just the truth?
That is the truth. A lot of shows wouldn't be watched, but the reason I want to highlight him as a blur is because of a lot of his accomplishments, a lot of what he's doing, especially at a young age, performing at South by Southwest, getting noticed by artists like Jay Z and Beyonce, or Jayonce, whatever you want to call him, BZ, and getting highlighted around the community as a writer, a writer, an artist, and just all around talent, and a comedian too. He's a comedian as well. He did stand up for comedy. Comedy Central has those 1 hour specials. He had a 1 hour special on Comedy Central last year or late 2011, and it was pretty funny. So, shout out to Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino, BKA Troy from Community on crappy NBC, who does not know how to maintain original content. I'm
Yeah.
off my high horse. I'm sorry.
Right,
Sorry.
right.
That was like a rant. I apologize, but I feel like this has been a really passionate episode.
There's some things we had to get out.
Yeah, I've been wanting to have this conversation with Lana and with everyone for this entire week. I've had a really, really busy week and stressful week, so it's just nice just to sit back and talk about nerdy things.
Yeah. Nerdy
So,
thing.
what up, Lana? You got anything? You got anything else you want to spiel?
Not Not too much. Nothing that can't wait until I have some tech stuff that I just saw a couple of minutes ago, but I'm gonna save that for next week. It has to
Mm-hmm.
do with Elysium, so it's pretty cool.
Oh, I gotta see
But
that. I gotta see that movie.
yeah, I haven't seen it.
Mm.
So
Well, that's if that's it. I think we'll let you guys go. As always, thanks for listening to us. Thanks for listening to us nerd out. I feel like this has been one of the most passionate episodes yet, just because of the comics and Bird of the Week and the Blast
it's
from the Past. Been very intimate. And I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. Don't forget you can follow us on Twitter at Blurred Nerd. And Lana, you can't see this, but my headphones got stuck in my glasses.
oh no.
So give me a second.
Are you okay?
Yes, I don't know how
Are you
this happened.
okay?
I don't know how this happened, but I'm like, you can follow us on. Why are my headphones stuck in my glasses? You can
Are you
follow us.
okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That was really weird. I don't know how that happened. But you can find us on Twitter at Blurred Nerd. You can find us on Facebook at Blerds on Nerds, Google Plus, and also YouTube at Blerds on Nerds. Be sure to follow us. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about your blast from the past. Have you ever been in a car accident? What comics are you reading? Who will be your Blurred of the week? We'll
Can we
continue to
do
stalk everyone on Twitter. What were you
and I'm
saying,
gonna
Lana?
do a birthday shout out. Happy birthday to my daddy. His birthday's on Sunday.
Happy birthday. Oh, it's one of the coolest guys ever. 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 So yeah, I mean, happy birthday to him. And it's how nice is it in California? Is it nice today?
It's beautiful, blue and sunny.
And same here in Indiana. It is. I did have the temperature off the top of my head, but I can't remember now. It's been nice all week. It's been like in the 70s. 79. So it's gonna be a gorgeous day. So I'm gonna get on the bike and bike downtown and go to Gen Con.
Oh yes, and
So
I do expect texts from you and
oh
stuff.
yes, and then we'll be definitely talking about Gen Con and its effect on Indianapolis more next week, just because I haven't been to Gen Con in several years. This is my first time going to Gen Con in I think 5 or 6 years. So
But
I'm definitely back to talk more about that. And as always, spread the nerd, and we'll talk to you in the next one. All right, bye
bye.
guys.